Hello, my name is Maddie, and today I will be talking about music, migration, and improvisation. The specific example that I'm going to explore today is the Oasis One World Choir, which is a music group in Wales that welcomes refugees and Cardiff community members to join in music making together. And for class, we read an article, a study actually, about this music group, and so I'm just going to first talk about what this choir is. The majority of the refugee participants in this group are Syrian, Iraqi, Iranian, Kurdish, Sudanese, and Congolese, and the group includes both adults and children. Frequently, both come to these sessions, which are non-obligatory, and there's one session for women and one mixed gender session. These sessions include workshops on drumming, singing, and dancing, typically using songs of European and African origin. The Oasis One World Choir has a great background of community involvement. The choir has a history of singing with other local choirs and also giving performance workshops. And these really allow refugee participants to connect with other members of their new home community while simultaneously giving back to the community in some cases, like for example when they performed for people with dementia. It's also a great way for these participants to be recognized for their skills. And most recently, the choir sang among a 300-voice choir at the coronation party, which is a huge deal, and I'd like to congratulate them on their performance. A key part of the Oasis One World Choir that I really want to talk about is improvisation. This is a really fascinating part of what they do because it allows participants to actually overcome the language barrier, which, as you can imagine, is a very important part of a music-making group such as this, where people come from various backgrounds, various countries, and therefore speak multiple different languages. I've always been a big believer in music as a common language, and this seems to support that idea. The fact that music is really one of the only things that, one of the only mediums through which people can communicate their feelings and their feelings with one another. And not only communicate that, but understand that from other people as well. So, improvisation makes music highly accessible in other ways too. In this case, the case of the Oasis One World Choir. For example, many of the pieces that contain improv moments are built on a repetitive melody or a call and response. And I want to hear an example of this, so I'm going to play a couple of excerpts from the Oasis One World Choir at the Pageant Rooms in Penarth. Here we go. This is the second excerpt. Okay. So, I know that you all can't see this YouTube video because this is a broadcast. However, there is a man in the middle of the group who is physically and sonically at the center of these pieces. He was the one singing the call in the first song, which features call and response, and he was also creating his own drumming patterns in the latter two. And I think it's quite beautiful how the entire choir and band supports his occasional moments of improv. I think this is a good example because it shows that while improv can be a solo activity, it can just as easily be a group activity where the individual improvising communicates on the fly with the rest of the group and vice versa. And this is also quite empowering, which is really important when we're talking about migrants and refugees and asylum seekers. According to the 2019 study that we read for class, the effects of improvisation in this case included nonverbal and emotional communication, cultural performance, interaction between participants, moments of empowerment, and positive memory making. And overall, the authors concluded that it was really kind of the crux of the group's success. So, in thinking about the Oasis One World Choir, I want to think about what does it tell us about music and what does it tell us about migration? And to do this, I'm going to read 2 testimonial quotes from the Oasis One World Choir's current website. And the first is about improv. It says, "One participant, a young woman who had recently arrived in the UK, became quite emotional during a women's dance improvisation session. She later mentioned to one participant that she cried because she realized how long it had been since she last felt happy. She described remembering how freedom feels, albeit for a short amount of time. As group leaders, we observed that enabling this feeling on a weekly basis helps participants in their search for a sense of freedom within the workshops as well as in their lives outside." This quote really demonstrates the power of improv to unlock a sense of freedom through self-expression. Because improv provides more than just a moment of creativity. It provides a moment in which people can honestly just be themselves. And it is a rare moment of self-expression that needs no justification, which leads to my last point about sense of self. The second quote on the website says, "The role of music is about affirming one's essential humanity. When people are put into sometimes difficult situations, the fact that they can listen to music and participate in music making restores a sense of self." This is quite similar to what my classmates were just talking about a couple of sessions ago on the radio. One of my classmates said music is this very human form of expression, and I believe that's what this quote is talking about. It also just demonstrates the ways that migration threatens to remove this sense of self because of the loss of home that it represents. And the fact that music itself can, to an extent, fill this role of home, a place where anyone estranged from their homeland can start to regain their identity. What's so interesting and important about this idea of essential humanity that music emphasizes is that it strips away the need to define someone based on their migratory status and allows them to truly be an individual. Music affirms this, and we need more efforts like the Oasis One World Choir to help end the dehumanization of migrants, refugees, and people seeking asylum. Thanks for tuning in.